Thank you all for joining me today. My name is Asad Khan, and I work in Microsoft Azure Data. And I'm responsible for running SQL Server and all the SQL services in Azure. I'm super excited to be here, though I missed the opportunity to have this talk in person. I'm happy to join you online and share the work my team has done and where we are heading. But before we get into that, I want to first acknowledge how difficult this year has been. In the best of cases, these have been trying months for all of us. And in the worst, they have been devastating to some. There is no way to frame the hardship that makes them easier to bear. There is only hope and strong communities like you to help us through. In this day and age, the ultimate tool is data. Over the past 12 months, we have seen organizations undergo digital transformation at breakneck speeds, racing forward to achieve 2 years of transformation in just months. While our global situation may have pushed digital transformation to the forefront, it is community that has made change at the scale and pace we have seen possible. We have come a long way together since we started SQL Server over 30 years ago. Today, 98 of the top 100 Fortune companies run SQL Server. While many organizations still run SQL Server at the heart of their business, they are also adopted new application scenarios and new type of databases, to which I am proud to say that many of the Azure Data services are built on the innovation that we continue to do as part of our SQL strategy. At the heart of this strategy, we are extending SQL from edge to the cloud, putting Microsoft SQL Engine, your T-SQL skills, and your favorite tools at the heart of where innovation is happening. We equip you to reimagine the art of what's possible. For example, imagine being able to run your SQL apps with AI capabilities right at the edge of an ARM device for real-time updates, or using SQL to run analytics over your structured and unstructured data stored in HDFS. How much time could you save if you could scale horizontally in the cloud to accommodate your most elastic workloads, or bring the cloud security and scaling capabilities to your on-prem deployments? You can now do all of that and more using SQL anywhere. For the rest of my talk, I would like to focus on the latest enhancements we have made to these 5 SQL-based offerings, and more importantly, show how these enhancements are helping companies in their journey of digital transformation. Azure SQL Edge is our new addition to the family of SQL-based products. It offers the full power of SQL Server at the edge, along with built-in capabilities for streaming, time series, and AI. Let's look at how Azure SQL Edge transformed a 3M manufacturing plant, enabling 3M to fix problems before they occurred. The 3M brand is a familiar household name. It's unusual to find a work desk that doesn't include some of its product, such as Scotch tape and Post-it notes. 3M produces more than 60,000 products in various categories, including the N95, which are instrumental in our fight against COVID. My team partnered with one of the US manufacturing plants and the 3M Corporate Research Lab to improve predictive anomalies. The plant's network connectivity was limited. Therefore, it was difficult to gather and transfer and use that data for predictive maintenance. The team decided to move all the data processing and AI at the edge using Azure SQL Edge. Imagine the full power of SQL Server with added AI and time series capabilities running on tiny edge devices. Azure SQL Edge also resolved the plant's problem of limited network capacity, since most data processing and AI was happening where the data was getting generated. Today, this predictive maintenance lets 3M fix problems before they occur. The quote from Mike, their technology manager, captures it nicely. Azure SQL Edge is a great bridge between traditional processes and the newest AI and compute features in the cloud. This is the type of solution that will drive us towards Industry 4.0. I'm sure you are very familiar with SQL Server and how we continue to advance this data platform. In SQL 2019, we enabled data virtualization, intelligent performance, memory-optimized TempDB, and much more. Big data clusters in SQL 2019 was the first of its kind that removed the chasm that exists between operational stores and analytics platform. It's amazing to see how customers are advancing and modernizing their data environments by taking advantage of these new capabilities. Like this example with Itaú Unibanco. Itaú Unibanco is the largest bank in Brazil and 10th largest bank in the world, operating in finance and insurance industries. Their concern was that their infrastructure would not keep up with their growth, and this would affect their SLAs to the business. I'm sure this is something we can all relate to. A good example is when they had to roll back an operation, it took a long time. On average, it took 4 to 5 hours to do a rollback. And sometimes that recovery could take as long as 40 hours. Itaú was an early adopter of SQL 2019 to take full advantage of the new intelligent query processing and accelerated database recovery. With the accelerated database recovery feature in SQL 2019, the rollback times dropped to a matter of seconds, and the intelligent query processing made over 90% of their queries run faster. The most interesting part was that it required almost zero code changes. Azure Arc is the cutting edge of technology innovation. It brings the best of SQL, Kubernetes, and Azure to run a fully managed cloud data services in customers' data center on top of their choice of hardware and operating system. Let's see how KPMG is using Arc to have consistent cloud capabilities in their data centers and in their multi-cloud environment. KPMG, a global network of member firms providing professional services with 220,000 employees, is always looking to stay on the cutting edge of technology. In Tokyo, a KPMG development team called Ignition is building out the next generation cloud-native application platform to serve their clients. It's called Cloud Next. While wanting to harness all the latest cloud innovation, KPMG's clients often require running their application and storing their data on premises or multiple public clouds in order to comply with government regulations and company policy. Azure Arc extends Azure management capabilities and data platform services to any infrastructure, on premises or any public cloud, enabling the KPMG team to build applications once and run them anywhere and manage them centrally from Azure. The built-in automated management services like self-service provision, elastic scalability, backup, restore, automatic updates of their Azure SQL managed instance databases saves them time and ensures they are always using the latest, most secure database platform. Azure SQL is the largest PaaS service we have in Azure. Azure SQL is not just hosting SQL Server in the cloud. Rather, we have built it from the ground up. Especially in SQL Hyperscale, we took apart the core of SQL Server and we run them as separate services. As a result, Hyperscale gives customer the performance of SQL Server with unlimited horizontal scaling. Hi-Res Studio is a leading video game developer. More than 70 million people worldwide play their games on PCs, mobile, and console. Some of their popular games are Global Agenda, Smite, Playdin, Realm Royal, and Rogue Company. Rogue Company, also known as Roku, is their latest release, and they used Azure SQL Hyperscale for it. When gaming companies launch a game, they don't know how many players they will get. It can start at 5 players, and within days, it can get to 5 million. Hi-Res was looking for a database that gives them full T-SQL surface area with extremely low read-write latency, and most importantly, unlimited scale. They took a big bet on SQL Hyperscale, our flagship cloud-architected relational database. As a result, they were able to scale the same database from few gigabytes to hundreds of terabytes within minutes. Azure Synapse is the first and only analytics system to have run all TPCH queries at petabyte scale. This was made possible because Azure Synapse uses the same query processing engine that ships in all flavors of SQL. Many customers have selected Synapse as their modern cloud data warehouse platform, due in part to the completeness of data security. And Grab Taxi is just one such example. Grab are rapidly expanding into new regions, and in order to adhere with local data compliance restrictions, they required fine-grained data access control. The native row and column security in Synapse, combined with dynamic data masking, enabled Grab to maintain a scalable, centralized repository of data that was secured appropriately for users in different APAC countries. By implementing security at the data table layer itself, all reports and dashboards are completely portable across entire company and don't require refactoring for different secure views per team, which had been their previous approach. This resulted in greater agility and productivity for data developers to build new capabilities, instead of maintaining ongoing cost of refactoring reports for new markets. The reason for the SQL continued success is because we are not afraid of innovating, both inside and outside the relational engine. Although SQL is a matured product, but we never constrained ourselves by what already exists. We are willing to break the bounds of existing systems and start all over again. These 5 investment areas will give you a sense of where we are heading with SQL. In the next few years, we will totally blur the lines between cloud and on-prem. Arc has already delivered on part of that vision, but we want to go much further. As a customer, you should not worry where you will deploy your database. The product, business model, and data manageability capabilities should all remain the same. Today in Azure SQL, all production databases are protected using advanced threat protection, which can detect anomalies and raise alerts indicating unusual activity. But why restrict these advanced features to cloud only or Azure only? Why not protect every SQL database in the world using Azure Security Center? Or have Purview provide a single pane of glass across all deployments of SQL, cloud or on-prem? This will allow you to centrally govern and share data with full data lineage. Whether it's about Azure Edit Services or the PaaS nature of SQL services in Azure, for customers who cannot move to public Azure, we will bring Azure to you. Today in Azure SQL, we run millions of customers' databases, processing over 10 trillion queries per day. But there is more work needed to fully empower the modern developer. We are improving Azure SQL experience with modern frameworks and languages such as Django, Node.js, Angular, Spring.Data. We will enhance the JSON and graph support in SQL Engine. We are also increasing our investment in intelligent data monitoring and insights using the power of AI. And we are doing much deeper integration with services like Azure Functions, Azure Web Apps, and the Power Platform. Hyperscale gives the unlimited scale through its page server design. And this helps us deliver the best latency without restricting to the machine size. Serverless makes the underlying infrastructure adapt to your workload. And elastic pools are a simple, cost-effective solution for managing and scaling multiple databases that have varying and unpredictable usage demands. Elastic Pool is the number one reason most ISVs and SaaS solution providers pick Azure SQL today. In Azure SQL, we intend to bring the best of hyperscale, serverless, and elastic pool into a single product offering. SQL has always been the leader on security. In order to maintain that leadership position, we are continuously investing and innovating in the space of confidential computing. For example, last week we announced the general availability of hardware enclaves in Azure. A secure enclave is a protected region within the SQL database engine process. It acts as a trusted execution environment for processing sensitive data inside the database engine, always encrypted with secure enclaves. Takes confidential computing to the whole new level. Azure Purview, which our CEO, Satya, announced in December, is another example where we are empowering data officers with advanced data security and data governance. Blockchain had a huge promise, but the technology never took off because it is too hard to use and doesn't integrate well with existing tools and framework. What if SQL can bring the same power of making data fully immutable in untrusted environments, but you don't have to give up on the ease of programmability? The last thing I want to say is SQL Server is very dear to us. We will never slow down when it comes to the innovation in SQL Server. In the coming versions, we will continue to invest in the core features of performance, reliability, scalability, and bringing industry-leading innovation. One such example of industry-leading innovation is the project where we are rewriting parts of the core SQL engine to remove the static variables in the SQL code with machine learning models that will be able to adapt to your workloads at runtime. I think it will be transformational. It will change how customers use data platforms. Let me pause here and show you a short inspirational video that we recently put together.
Imagine a tiny particle drifting at the edge of the Milky Way, a single element that could solve the next big challenge. Imagine you had the power to reach across the stars and grab it. Our world is immersed in a galaxy of data. Data that connects us, hears us, enables us to do more. Data that helps us innovate wherever imagination takes us. In 1969, Apollo 11's guidance computer was limited to 72 kilobytes as it traveled to the moon. Now, we have exponentially more power in the palm of our hands. This precious resource demands a trusted partner to harness and make every bit of it intuitively accessible at the speed of our ideas. The speed of SQL Server and Azure SQL, the latest evolution of data management's highly secure, supercharged platform, enabling you to break performance barriers and boost agility. Azure SQL Database's hyperscale capabilities allow you to auto-scale dynamically. Advanced data security keeps hazards at bay with a single click, while built-in cloud intelligence eliminates worry. Machine learning services enhance the value of your data by importing adjacent code to create models faster than ever. And with cross-platform solutions like Azure Arc, SQL Server and Azure SQL products can be leveraged virtually everywhere. Our team is motivated to consistently improve this new breed of database without disrupting the application of our existing technology, as many of the world's critical systems and most influential corporations deploy it, and agencies on our most important front lines depend on it. Businesses like Balzano, that leverage SQL Server big data clusters to help radiologists interpret medical images, or Zeiss, that use Azure SQL Edge to constantly improve the manufacturing of optical lenses, and organizations that help us dream bigger, like the Sloan Digital Sky Survey that built its ever-expanding database of 200 million galaxies and 260 million stars on SQL Server. Imagine what your data could dream up. Imagine unparalleled access to that next great innovation. Together, we can reach it at the speed of SQL Server in Azure SQL.
SQL started as a relational engine. Over the years, we have transformed it into a full-blown data platform. As you can see, many of the innovations are not restricted to SQL Server. We have taken them much beyond SQL Server. Today, SQL Server powers some of the largest services in Azure, such as Azure SQL and Synapse. And they are also part of some key initiatives we are taking in the data space, such as Arc, Azure Purview, and SQL Edge. Even with the best technical innovation, no product can be successful without a strong community. Our philosophy has always been community-centric. Please keep your feedback and correspondence coming. We love hearing from you, and we are always looking for new ways to support you. Thank you.